Are you talking about studio work? I generally, you know, is your approach the old school approach, meaning a whole take, you know, or do you record in segments?
Oh, I do it every way possible. Whatever fits the bill. Yeah. If it's complex music, complex arrangement, absolutely do it in sections, because we don't have the time to sit there and rehearse and learn something that's really complex. That would take a couple of days of rehearsal. But that's not what we do, you know. So I might get an overall take, and just to get kind of the story, as it were, the outline, and then I might, okay, let's do this section and let's do this section, because they're basically the same. So this session I just did in Real World, it was actually, it wasn't songs, it was pieces. Segments of a very long piece. So that's what we had to do. We would do it, we'd run down, and it was quite complicated. So I'd say, okay, let's go from there to letter B. Let's get that sorted out. Let's figure out what we're playing. And then, okay, let's punch in here, we'll do that next section. And when we got down 3 pages down the chart, suddenly letter A was being played again. And I couldn't remember what the hell I played. So I said, play me letter A. And we put all the markers in on Pro Tools, because it was to grid with a click, and so he just went straight A, and I listened and I went, oh yeah, that's right, okay, great, punch me in. So whatever.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Of course not. No, well, because especially with, you've got a tight budget and studio time is what it is, you just need to get it done and need to get it right with a great sound. So I've done pretty much every way of recording a track you can imagine. I mean, you know, whatever works and makes the final thing sound good is fine.
Let's talk about gear.
Okay.
For you, it's Tama. It's Zildjian. Sticks.
ProMark.
ProMark. Heads.
Remo.
Okay. So, when approaching, you know, a track, how do you decide, you know, your choice of weapons? Especially, I suppose, cymbals or skins or whatever.
It's the same.
It's always the same?
I use the same kit. Yeah. The only thing I'll change is the snare drum, the type of snare drum, to suit the track. It's about character. It's about fitting in. Does this sound suit what we're playing? Maybe not. So, and sometimes when I hear the track, we've got our drum sound with just kind of a starting, I use this to start with, and we got everything. I'll hear the track and I'll go, okay, I'm going to change the snare. This is not going to work with this one. And I'll get something else that has either more spread, or is dry, or it's higher pitched or lower pitched. Even just by changing the snare, without touching anything else, the way I play is going to change the sound of those drums, the overall sound. The other thing is the balance of the kit. How much overheads to put in the mix, what are the ambients doing, the length of because I always use some sort of treatment on the ambience, depending on the room. But if it's a smaller room, I'll use an SPL transient designer. I can actually shape the attack and sustain on it to be either longer or shorter, to go with the tempo of the song. If the engineer I'm working with is got it, he'll adapt to my playing. Or if I'm engineering, I'll come in and change a couple of things, maybe a little EQ on the snare. I'll change the balance a little bit of stuff, a little less overheads, a little less ambience, a bit more direct. I mean, that really changes the whole kit sound, and especially how I'm playing. I may only have to change the snare. Now, if I want a special cymbal, then I'll go, okay, let me pop this up.
Like a special ride or something like that.
But generally it's very, very rare. The only thing I change is usually if I use an extra ride or an extra swish or something, I might do something up there just for fun, you know. But no, I mean, most of the 9 times out of 10, I don't change a thing. I just change the way I play.
Okay. Talking about snare drums, that's a very, you know, personal thing for a lot of drummers. And a lot of them collect, you know, tons and tons of instruments. Have you fallen victim to that?
Oh, I have a few snare drums. Yeah. I have all my original old snare drums that I started. I have a few snare drums I've kept from even my first what I call proper snare drum, which is a Ludwig 400. It's a 1973, and I got it off second-hand, because in England then we couldn't afford new drums, especially Ludwig from America. Oh, so expensive. So I still have that one. I bought a Ludwig 402, which is the 6.5-inch version. That was a 1974 model. I still have that. That was on a lot of records. I have a Rogers, which was probably made in 75. I bought it in 76 as a Dynasonic 6.5. My next snare drum was a Slingerland Radio King, 1949.
That was my guess,
which I bought in New York at Frankie Polito's store. And that was in 1977 I got that. Then in 79 I bought a Leedy, 1939 Leedy shell from Paul Jameson in Los Angeles. And 79 was when I started using Tama. So I kind of stopped collecting the vintage drums because Tama was starting to make some really good stuff, and I have a bunch of different Tama stuff, plus we have the Signature series. Plus I have a lot of prototypes. When we were searching for the Signature drum, the first one, I had them make all these different prototypes just to see what they were like. I still have those. Some are good, some are not good. In recent years, I bought a couple of Ludwigs. I bought a brass shell, 1959, 400, which is beautiful, and an Acrolite, Ludwig Acrolite, which is still one of my favorite drums. So yeah, I go for those. But the problem with the vintage stuff, in reality, you've got a 5-minute track, you get this great snare sound. 5 minutes later, that snare drum has changed. The snares are loose, the head's gone down, even with locking nuts and everything. And especially nowadays, we record digitally, you can hear that stuff a lot clearer. With tape, you didn't hear it so much.
Tape was changing speed too, so, you know.
Very fractionally, not that much. Only the, depending on the machine, and only the chase machine. The one that was following SMPTE, that's on constant vari speed. That's why you never record anything across. You would never put a drum kit over the two machines, otherwise you get flanging. Yeah, so that's. But the main machine, if it's working well, it was very good. It was very good. It kept its pitch. But that's the problem nowadays. All the modern drums, I mean, they're bulletproof all the time. Is it very rarely do they slip? And I mean, as the head gets used, yes, of course it will. And I use a single ply head, so it's more susceptible to dropping a little bit in pitch. But you know, it's fixable. It's okay.
Of course.